almost just fell on my face right at the start here. Welcome, welcome. We took the red line to the gold line, and we're walking through South Central Los Angeles to get to our first stop. I'm totally not as familiar with this side of town because I don't often hang out here. But what I've seen so far is some pretty cool little houses on the side. So we're gonna walk by this loud car wash. Trust me, I didn't plan it. Hey LA Unknown, how are you doing on Friday? I'm over in Jefferson Park, West Adams area. We're gonna look at some old toy of the last century mansions and think about how much it must cost to pay for the electricity bill and upkeep. Well, this is a pretty cool site. I am gonna swing out a little bit. Hey, you can also carry a pizza. Hey, Steph's. Happy Friday. Right now in Jefferson Park, about to cross over to West Adams. I think we're about half a mile away from our first stop. I've already walked half of the distance because I took the train, the Red Line, 7th Street Metro, and then got off Expo Western, I think it's called. So 15 minutes away from our first stop. That's all right. I might have to take my sweatshirt off. It was cool and gray and breezy earlier, and over here it feels humid. I'm really excited to see some of these places because I honestly have never seen them before in person, or maybe not from a car or a picture. So it's really cool to kind of see the way the rich people migrated through Los Angeles. That's a weird thing to say, but kind of true. Hey, Ralph Rosa, Mr. Ralph Rosa. Happy Friday. So it's a little due for its makeup over here. We're really close to Culver City. There are a lot of teensy little tiny houses down these streets. This is the original Fat Burger, actually. All right. I'm sure this is not the original building, but also the original Fat Burger. Lovey Yancey. Have I walked by this before? I feel like I never have. That's where Fat Burger started. She wanted to create a burger that was like a whole meal unto itself. That's a pretty funky looking castle-y church. Or what's the other? There's another fried chicken place that like gas stations have. Like something fried. It's got a name. Jersey Fried. But it's not Jersey, because who would want, no offense to New Jersey, but you're really not known for fried chicken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did not watch all of the Jersey Shore, so maybe Snooki's got a recipe. She could share with us. Or you could share with us, sorry. So the funnest part of this is that I've really taken great notes for us to make sure that I mention everything I want to mention about the 4 places that we're going to visit. Golden Bird. There's another one. I feel like I almost said Kentucky Fried or like I feel like it's a name. And I always kind of mentally feel like it would be good. But I don't know that I've ever had gas station fried chicken. Also, I don't know that I want to be a totally fried chicken channel. I don't know that I'd be able to walk as much. So the first house we are going to go to is Ramsay-Durfee House. Ramsay was a wealthy lumber magnate, and he'd built this at the peak of LA's big house era. When Ramsay unalived, or passed, I think I could say that without using my commercial sponsorship or whatever that is. His widow, known as the widow of West Adams, legend is about this house that after Ramsay's death, I said it, local stories claim that his widow became a recluse, rarely seen in public, gonna cross the street and stop reading. Wandering the massive home's upper floors at night, she was said to speak to portraits and sit for hours in a darkened room. So mid-20th century, this area was in decline, let's say. And this house kind of fell into disrepair. You're not going to believe it when you see it. So, neighbors say the home is haunted and they hear groans and rumblings. We are not here at night, so I don't know that we'll hear groans or rumblings. Kind of look this sort of Art Deco streamlined plaza. So there are so many cool little pockets over here with all these old-timey preserved, tiny little cool 20th century houses and some giant ones which we're about to see. That little kid in the ad makes that ice cream look good. I really wish nobody wrote on him, but building looks like Xanadu. I mean, from the movie Xanadu, and I'm joking. It totally smells like Little Caesars over here. So, this was the place for wealthy folks in the 1800s to the early 20s, and then teens and 20s, we saw them move, well, also Bunker Hill area, was pretty wealthy then. Then we saw people move to the hills and the valleys, leaving giant deluxe homes behind to fall into disrepair. Golden Bird. I can't remember where I see that sign, but I've seen it recently. It's like, I wish I could remember. It's not Jersey fried, but it's like something fried that is one word. So I want to take a sec while we're walking through some, what's that building? A really kind of cool building over there. We're going to get a view of downtown LA. I want to take a second to thank all of my members for our members channel, our Sidewalk Surfers, and our Walk of Famer. So I want to say thanks. We added a new name today, Emmett. Welcome, and thanks so much. Again, I've lost my fireworks, so I can't play them. So, fireworks. So I feel like the older the neighborhood, the less kind of it gets preserved, because people didn't realize what they had. Like, it's kind of true of the old Art Deco buildings downtown that they tore down. We didn't realize what we had. I think it's true for some of these same neighborhoods. All right, back to my map. Of course, I don't mind being a fried chicken channel, but I'm literally on this lady's fanny because I'm trying to open up the map app. I almost want to throw this phone on the ground in a baby temper tantrum. All right. Okay. Definitely starting to get hot. All right, we're pretty close. 3 minutes now. So, it's called Via Maria also. It's another name for it. So other than it housing the widow of West Adams, unlike the other three houses, and maybe if we look back in time at that real estate magnate, we'd find some really dirty deeds. How could you not?
Turn left.
You cannot enter from that side. The house is there. Hope we can get to see it somehow. Oh, turn left. Nope. It doesn't look like it will get to that house. My feet occasionally hurt. I'm not gonna lie. They don't hurt so much as they feel kinda swollen. So I'm gonna see if there's another way to hit this house. It definitely takes up the whole block. I feel really bad that this lady feels like we're following her to her dentist appointment. Check these little 2 cages out here. So originally those were to cross the street. I should wear compression socks. I also maybe should get new sneakers more often than I do. I've had these for a year. I walk at least I think at least 10 miles a day, even when I'm not live streaming. So I think I need a new pair of soles. Wow, I really want to be able to see this house.
Turn right onto Southwestern Avenue.
It's really bricked. Oh, that's not a word that we use for this. It's really like bricked out. That means muscular, right? It's really hidden. But these are the kind of houses that abounded in this neighborhood. Also, they got a little library and pantry here, so you can get a book. So this one, I love that little turreted room. So we're gonna walk around the block. My biggest fear is previously when I would exercise, like at some point, I guess we're not really gonna get close to this house. I want to see if there's a back way. It's at the top of the hill. It takes up the whole hill top. We're going to walk around the block and see if we can get there. If not, the other houses are pretty much seeable from the street. But we can definitely take in some of the cool other places around here, like this Spanish guy. So this would be like the neighborhood if you watched 6 Feet Under that they like filmed in. I did have some compression socks, but I feel like I might have lost them. When I used to stand a lot and not necessarily walk as much, I always used to get compression socks, but they were like thigh highs. I'm using Nike. Hi. I'm using Nike. I get the same kind over and over again. Something horse. They're pretty comfortable, I have to say. And they haven't totally like shit the bed yet. Look at that pretty cool house. I actually don't have a lot of foot problems. I get sciatic nerve problems. It's usually when I overdo like every day, which you shouldn't probably do it every day. And after doing that, I couldn't walk for a little bit because I like pinched my nerve. I remember when I was a kid, I would see ladies with dresses and sneakers on, and I would think, that just really doesn't go, but I totally get it now. I mean, I didn't criticize them. I have no right to do that. But I totally understand sneakers and a skirt. So, There's the house, all hidden behind that fence. I think it's part. Yeah. No, I just was taking a historical tour, and I was talking about this house. I didn't realize you couldn't get close to it, so I just was talking about it. This is the only angle that you could see it from. Right? Oh yeah. Thank you so much. So is the widow walking that house? I don't know. But let's go to the next of our visits. Did I handle that well? I get really nervous when I get approached. Hey Monica, happy Friday. We're on a little Forgotten Mansions tour in West Adams. We just stopped by a house. I think that is actually part of St. Mary's College now, that particular building, and that's maybe why we couldn't get to it. Let's go to our next spot. I just want to kill, not that. I'm going to close the current phone. All right. Bye. Maps. If this were an iPhone, and I'm not complaining again, I could do this 10 times faster. All right. That's me. So, I'll get the address parked in there. And then our next place is the Fitzgerald house. So, I'm gonna start. I am so sweaty.
Turn right onto
But
West
let's
Adams
go.
Boulevard.
Then it's a Nike Wild Horse. I usually leave him alone, but I'm happy to answer his questions. I feel like that guy's doing his job and maybe wants to look important at his job. I got yelled at yesterday for sitting on stairs for a second by a man. I was sitting on stairs setting up my gimbal in front of a wet floor sign. Not that the floor was wet, but I wasn't blocking the way up or down. And the stairs at like 7th and Fig, so there's like 20-foot wide step. And he was screaming at me from behind, but I ignored him because I was, almost completely set up. Screaming at me, you can't sit there, you can't sit there. And I was like, I'm gonna make him tell me because there's no reason why I can't sit here. Well, sooner or later, somebody else is going to come by and read him the riot act. I have a hateable face, so I don't want to cause any problems that make people want to punch me. But anyway, the guy with the stairs, and against my better judgment, and it probably says more about me than this guy kicking me off the stairs, but later, I walked back by and there was somebody sitting on the stairs and he was just standing there. And so I said, I thought you told me no sitting on the stairs. I agree, Dan. And so I kinda just take the easier path. And every once in a while, I'm really irritated by it though. I heard somebody live streaming and they were talking about how when people are like, don't film me. This is not on our tour, but that looks pretty haunted. Don't film me. Anyway, back to that. And the person was like as if I'm trying to film you. Who are you? The only time I would love to give other people directives, like stand on the right and walk on the left for the escalator and use your directional when you're driving. I wonder what's on the other side of this wall. I'm hoping it's the Fitzgerald house and we can actually walk on the property. So we're heading to the Fitzgerald house next. Fitzgerald was also a jerk. This was a guy who struck it rich in real estate also, and was also in vaudeville. So it just reminds me personally of like a graveyard wall. What lurks beyond that. I only have the extension pole that's built in. So I just extended my pole. It sounds gross. I need a longer pole. I just want an orange from their orange tree. It's definitely secure. The only thing that's missing are spikes. But I can't tell you that there are no spikes. The thing about a wall like this is if there are no doors except for the front entrance, like how do you just jump out? Oh, so this is not a mansion that we need to look at, I don't think. This is the University of California William Andrews Clark Memorial Library. Hey, JK. Over in West Adams. Seeing the sights. Climbing walls. Returning overdue library books. I am not returning an overdue library book. I'm hoping that we can poke around the corner and see more of what's on the other side of this wall. I'm just checking if maybe this is the Fitzgerald house. Nope. 0.2 miles away. And that library is far set back. I have no idea. Scale the wall. The library, though, must have been a mansion at one time. Here. Maybe this is a little weird, but I can walk up the stairs and we can peek. Hopefully, you really can't see much of the library. Also, this is like a child's play preschool. I love a willow tree. Check out this magnificent house across the street. And that one, but this one. It's beautiful craftsman. One of my favorite things at Disneyland is actually California Adventure, is the Soarin' over California. I kind of love that ride. It makes me happy to live here. So the Gold Line train goes all the way to Santa Monica. I'm going to be exploring the Gold Line train all of this month on Thursday. It's part of my new schedule. So if it's the first time you're joining here, please like, subscribe, and chat. Also, if you like behind the scenes video, we have videos. We have members that you could join. I feel like if I got off at Western Expo. I feel like if the train was a little bit closer, I would have turned it on earlier and like done a walking from the train station kind of walk. All right. Here it is, the Fitzgerald House. It now must be like a church. I see a lot of lanterns. Let's walk down the street here and see if we can get the best views of it that we could get. And let me tell you a little more about it. Whew, I might be able to just walk up that little driveway. Or no, I don't want to make anybody feel threatened if it's a church. But also, because we're already halfway down the street, this is a pretty cool building. Also, I can imagine what this area looked like when all of the houses were like this. That's a crazy window, and just a good thing it doesn't face west. So we're gonna walk back to the crosswalk. So James T. Fitzgerald, that's who this house is. He was a real estate investor and built this mansion in 1903. This was when West Adams was for the ultra elite of Los Angeles. So he's not as bad as Doheny, whose mansion we are also going to see, not the Beverly Hills one, but the one over here. But his life and house reflect the pretty shady backdrop for Los Angeles, for turn of the century Los Angeles. He was a boomtown profiteer and made most of his money during the LA's frenzy land rush era, where speculators gobbled up property and then cashed in on them, displacing poorer residents. Same is true today. Hey Monica, hey Carrie, if I miss anybody, I'm super sorry. So he wasn't really a public figure himself, but the house later became linked to vaudeville performers and possibly some entertainment world social circles. As West Adams declined in the mid-20th century, the mansion reported ghostly gatherings, secret society and cult member stuff. I wish we could go in, but we could get a little bit closer to this guy. I'm hoping that some way we could see the front. I mean, that looks like some weird-ass flowers in the attic kind of house, right? Oh, cool. We're gonna get a much cooler look of it right here. Hopefully. Oh my. Oh. So let's just walk up and look at it. If they come out, I'll explain to them what we're doing and we'll take off. But just amazing. Let's look at that house. Look at that house, but also look at that chimney and just look at the details. Imagine when this street behind us was probably empty and they just had a view out to the sea. All right, I'll go a little closer, but then I'm gonna probably not want to, again, frighten people in a church with my camera. Could almost. All right, maybe we could all move in and split the rent. It's, no matter what its past was, it feels pretty peaceful actually right now. So I thought from the outside that this probably wasn't an original part of the house, but it is. It's a totally beautiful treasure worth saving. I'm glad it made it to the 21st century. So I'm really showing you a beautiful cloudy sky. As beautiful as it is, though, it does feel like a perfect setting for a flowers in the attic style story from turn of the century. Let me go to our next location, which is former home of Theda Bara, and then Fatty Arbuckle. So let me just, I believe that's what's next, sorry. Yeah, all right, let me go to my Google Maps. Make sure that we're going in the right direction. So it is a meditation center, no wonder it feels peaceful. Okay, so we're heading to 649 Adams Boulevard. Let's go. I'm always wondering if I'm walking in the right direction. I sometimes feel like I am not. Recenter. I think I am walking in the right direction.
Take the next right onto 2nd Avenue, then turn right onto West 25th Street.
Well, there we go. I'm going to take the next right onto 2nd Avenue. So let's check out what apartment living is like over here. It just must have been crazy when there were just huge houses with on huge parcels of land. It must have felt quite different than it does today.
Take the next right onto West 25th Street, then turn right onto Arlington Avenue.
So I'm taking the next right onto West 25th Street, if you didn't hear whatever her name is. I don't usually use Google Maps. I usually use the Apple one. Sometimes Waze. I love Waze if I'm taking the free Waze, but otherwise I just use Maps. I was walking in Hollywood the other day and on this really weird side street, and I saw the cutest 2-bedroom craftsman house with stained glass windows for rent. I'm really tempted to call about it because that would be kind of a dream situation. But I'm sure it's like $5,000. I'm not paying $5,000 per month. I would need to work 4 jobs.
Head north on 2nd Avenue toward West 25th Street.
And then turn right. I think I know that.
100 feet, turn right onto West 24th Street. Take the next right onto West 24th Street, then turn right onto Arlington Avenue.
Was that West? That's 25th Street. Oh, Never mind, I'm doing the right thing. I think it's almost impossible to probably get a house at this point in my life. To buy one at the very least. I really feel like I also wouldn't want to spend $4,000 a month on rent. We have a neighbor who talks to us all the time, lovely gentleman. He told me that another gentleman that talks to him was like, pays $4,800 for rent for an apartment in our neighborhood, which it's a new building, so I kind of get it. And I said to him, oh, I would never pay that much for rent, you know? And he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I really could have just walked here from where we were. And I think he actually mentioned it to him, because the next time I saw the guy, he didn't, kind of gave me a dirty look.
Take the next right onto Arlington Avenue.
As if I was making fun of how frugal he was, or unfrugal he was. So, it's still possible to find a really crazy derelict house down here. Like these. Whoa, I almost just tripped on a bush. Would have been a good laugh though, right? For someone. Oh, these are the worst kind of crosswalks to cross. Because no one ever wants to stop. But I will tell you, because I have this camera, everyone will stop. Usually stops. Thank you. That wasn't a good example of that. Hey MC, happy Friday. So this is a kind of gorgeous street to walk down.
In 800 feet, turn left onto West Adams Boulevard.
But enjoy it while you can, because in 800 feet,
turn right onto South Gramercy Place.
she really needs to make up her mind. What? How about that? I feel like I am in West Adams, actually. We're checking out 4 mansions, like the Doheny Estate over this place. Oh, well, that's better. I guess we'll do that for the rest of the time. Sorry, I should check. So this is not on our list, but I just figured it was kind of cool to take a look at, and it's for sale. So if you're interested, give Darren a call. Sorry. Hi. This is a absolutely lovely street. Love it. Love it also. I gotta keep my eye on my directions. I don't want to miss Fatty's. Oh, we're 11 minutes away. There are actually a lot of houses for sale on this street. Somebody should call on that one. This guy also is for sale. I love that. Even, could use some love, but I love a house with like a barn-like garage. Our house that I grew up in had a barn-like garage, and it was great because it was like another house you could run away from your parents to. What's this? The plantation? I hope I don't forget 0.1 mile. This is Cimarron. So I'm looking for Gramercy. Good, because I want to walk up this street. These are incredible looking also. That's definitely apartments. Definitely not built to be apartments. Or maybe they just have, that garage has a apartment over it. That looks kind of picture perfect, that green one over there. Little rocking chair sitting out front. The problem with palm trees. I don't get the stone face on that lower level. It looks like something done in the 80s, but cool. I almost said the F word. These are a little more my speed. Okay, I never want to scare people and make them think that I am a criminal from another country filming their neighborhood, or a criminal from this country filming their neighborhood. Oh, this one's really cool, but it looks like an apartment complex. Like, no one... Alright, so I'm going to check my map.
Take the next right onto South Gramercy Place.
I'm going to take the next right. I guess I don't even need to check the map. I wonder about electricity bill and heating bill. I'm always freezing cold. This is divine. I love the garden. I can't believe it said divine. Divine. It's the garden. Very sweet. Sorry. She ducked out of the way when she could have just walked on the left side of me. Appreciate it. So here we are in Gramercy. We just were here. So, Gramercy, 50 feet. We're on it. And then I'm going to take a left. So I kind of actually have to cross here. Unfortunately. Right? Being alone in that house is pretty scary. Would be pretty scary. Like all those rooms and actually just the history. Happy Friday, by the way, if I missed you. Looks like this one's getting a makeover. Or maybe it's new. No. I love it. What a sweet house this one is. Right? Okay. I think if I can open my phone, we're not here because I have to turn on West Adams, but let's check these houses out. This is not planned.
In 500 feet, turn right onto West 24th Street.
Wow. So this area looks really cute also, and vintage. And just as I say that, I see a non-vintage, but that's all right. I wonder whose bedroom is that teeny tiny window right there. All right, we can call this 50s one kind of vintage. little park. We're just gonna do the loop.
Turn right onto West 24th
Oh my
Street.
gosh. I don't know how to turn the volume down on this. I really want to break the phone. I sound bitter and grouchy, but I'm not. It looks a
Take the
little like
next left onto
Desperate
Gramercy Park,
Housewives.
then turn left onto South Gramercy Place.
Cute. All right, let me get to my map again. Sorry for the delay. I don't know where the map went. Grandpa wants to smash the phone again. All right. It is the Adams district. I'm using like this Nokia phone, right? Sorry. It is slow AF and I'm impatient. So every time I'm waiting for it to load up, and honestly, like, I could do a much better job. Hold on. Every time I'm waiting for it to load up, it literally locks again. I know I can reset that, but that also takes forever. All right, so that's me. We want to go to, let me see. I'm going to the Fitzgerald house, right? Yeah. All right. Okay, we're 2 minutes away. Wherever that may be. Wouldn't it be fun if that was
Head
it?
west on Gramercy Park towards South Gramercy Place, then turn left onto South Gramercy Place. Take the next left onto South Gramercy Place, then turn right onto West Adams Boulevard.
I don't even think it knows where I am. It just locked itself again.
Head west on Gramercy Park towards South Gramercy Place, then turn left onto South Gramercy Place.
Oh my god, please hit the like button. I'm now doing the emergency SOS. I'm going to put this down for a second and just get my bearings because I'll show you my sneakers. They're kind of worn out. They're not really very well tied. Don't laugh at me. I'm wearing light colored jeans also, which isn't a regular thing for me. No, I'm now calling 911 somehow. Great. Emergency callback mode. Clear all. Okay, so apologies, it locked its screen again. Thank you so much for watching, listening. I'm going to my texts to find the houses in the order that we were going into them. Alright, we went to Ramsay, Fitzgerald, Fatty Arbuckle. Map. Alright. I'm pretty sure we're close to this. Although it says 10 minutes away. So let's go. 2.2 miles, 10 minutes. So I'm at Gramercy Park and I'm going to take a left. I think we're doing it right.
Head west on Gramercy Park toward South Gramercy Place. South Gramercy Place.
Oh, Yep, okay. So on the iPhone, you can lock the screen and it will still give you the directions. On this phone, it just shuts it down. There's a fun little gem of a house. I think it's garage for this giant house over here. Garage is bigger than the building I live in. Wow. Oh, we saw this from the front. Looks like they have a tennis court. You know what's really funny is for the past, when we did this, I always just wrote stuff down and I very rarely got lost. I hate to think that I'm some kind of, or I don't want you to think that I'm some kind of Luddite that can't use technology. And I am very grateful for this second phone. I just wish it was faster. I'm gonna just grab some power here. Perfect.
Head west on West Adams Boulevard toward South Gramercy Place.
This really makes me feel like I'm not going the right way because we were just, on Gramercy Place. Sorry. I'm just checking. I also wish I had 3 hands.
Take the next left onto West Adams Boulevard.
It's also telling me to take a left onto West Adams Boulevard, which I'm already on. Okay, I'm not gonna keep complaining about my phone.
Head north toward West Adams Boulevard. Continue on West Adams Boulevard for 2 miles.
All right, 2 miles. We're not leaving West Adams Boulevard, so we're looking for 649 West Adams Boulevard. I'm gonna stick that stupid phone in my back pocket, throw caution to the wind, and rock out. Walk down the street. Hey, Allie. Monica, I don't know if I said hi earlier. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. We're mansion hunting. So we've seen 2. We have 2 more to go. The next mansion it was actually owned by Theda Bara, Thedabara, Theda Bara, a silent actress, a silent film actress. I think she might be an interesting story too. I could be also mixing her up with somebody else. I think she was like a plain girl and they tried to make her like mysterious, right? And she was a little cherub-like, and she was a star when women were cherub-like, and then came the flapper, and she kind of lost opportunities. That's the down and dirty of it. A story as old as Hollywood time. So if we look at neighborhoods that we've gone to, again, this is the 1800s, early 2000s, early 20th century neighborhoods. Most of these houses are, and usually we're in the 20s and 30s. Also early 2000s, early 1900s. 1800s, sorry. Jeez, confusing. We're in the 20th century, 21st century now, right? 20th century is 1900s. Who made that up? Even this apartment building has some kind of lovely, interesting moments to it. Hey, like look at the balcony and then the charcuterie or whatever you call that ornate sort of stuff around the doorway. It has a name and I can never, chiaroscuro, can never remember it or say it when I am reading it. But it's that sort of like, that's not really chiaroscuro, that looks kind of Roman-esque, but it's that type of stuff. All right. So we are at a crosswalk that we've been at before. If you travel right, I'm not really sure if that's east or west. That's the Coliseum and the BMO Stadium is over there. Which leads me to think that the other direction is Los Angeles. That looks like some kind of New England factory from the front. Or it reminds me of the Simpsons. Nuclear power plant, or school actually, at Universal. It doesn't look, looks kind of like a set or a facade. She spricht.
Left onto Southwestern Avenue.
I don't know what it just said.
Continue on West Adams Boulevard for 2 miles.
I'm continuing here for 2 miles.
Continue on West Adams Boulevard for 2 miles.
So, I don't know if any of you watched, it looks like they kind of kept the old building and sort of modeled a new one around it, which is pretty fun. It's weird how the architecture in a certain area tells you when it was like first inhabited. Or maybe not first inhabited, but like okay, so this kind of place, by the way, everybody in the industry knows about it, and that's how they survive. They have everything,
Head west on West Adams.
and they're literally in the middle of nowhere. Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean middle of nowhere. Two nice homes, well, a bunch of nice homes actually. We're in West Adams, part of an older than Hollywood part of Los Angeles. So Allie, did you watch 6 Feet Under? Like they filmed, their house is somewhere over here. And they're like old Victorian houses up here.
Continue on West Adams Boulevard for 1.5 miles.
I wonder what kind of store that was when it first opened. I mean, it must have been a market always, but look at those cool windows and balconies. I wouldn't want to sit on them.
Head west on West Adams Boulevard for
Ooh, how cool. Look, it's me wearing a dark sweatshirt on a really hot day. So it is great weather. It is definitely a t-shirt day, not a sweatshirt day. When I left the house, it was probably like 10 degrees cooler out. Hollywood's like that. So this is a neighborhood that still really hasn't been super gentrified yet. And hopefully they'll find a way to keep the longtime residents here when it happens. I mean, we keep plowing through neighborhoods in LA and it's out with the old and in with the new. I don't know what rent is down here because I've never looked for rent. Also, I think it's a more bus-dependent neighborhood. I love how some of the buildings maybe tried to play homage to a lot of the Tudor stuff or that style around here. What does that building have so many pipes on the roof for? So it's weird that everything is so much more spread out here because this is still like pre-car LA, you know? Or pre when LA started to become a car town. There are a lot of neighborhoods further in the other direction that are actually blocked from the main street. They're very, very, very vintage. And of course I'm checking my map. Hold on. Oh my god. I love it. I have to start it all over again, but that's okay. The address is already in there. So now we're 8 minutes away. Okay, so I am sweating to death. Hi. Okay. Yeah, every time the phone shuts down for too long, the map breaks down. It's like a free phone that I got with a very cheap service on it. I really cannot afford like another phone right now. I can afford free. So it's a Nokia phone. I didn't even know they still made those. Again, it was free. blessings. And it comes loaded with all of this crap like Candy Crush and Ball Bounce and Meat Tenderizer, and I don't really know if that's the kind of stuff. And every day, those stupid apps give me a message. Like, beat the meat at Meat Tenderizer, or, which I don't really know what that is. It's not real. I made that up. But there's something like that. And then Candy Crush, reminding me to play. I don't need that reminder. So I think those messages, I wipe them clean, but I think that somehow, like, the memory is full on this phone already. I've only had it for 3 or 4 months. I delete them all the time. It's just like, if you have like a top tier Samsung phone or a top tier iPhone, it's really hard to use a phone that is not as fast and completely not made for speed. I think it's just made for old people. It's like the jitterbug. I'm kidding, it doesn't have big buttons, I wish. That's another really cool house behind that, but they really blocked it off. It's not the house we're looking for. For a while I thought I might want a jitterbug. I really hate walking by mattresses. I'm so sorry. I just think of 30 Rock and Chinchas. One of my biggest fears in life is somehow getting bed bugs. Also, the story keeps popping up in my news feed about a guy that was vintage shopping and didn't wash the clothes before he put them on and ended up with some type of pox that takes like 2 years, and they show pictures of his poor face. Poor guy. They're just so frightening. And the other thing about the bed bugs too is that if you live in an apartment building, your neighbor could get them and bring them to everybody. I've never... Oh, she's spricken. Hold on. Sie spricht. Let's hope our... 7 minutes. Let's hope our map doesn't shut down again. There are really not enough tree canopies over here. I've never had them, but I can imagine you have to throw a lot of stuff out. I feel like I've lived in my apartment for 10 years, and although I am not a pack rat, I just have 10 years of accumulated stuff. Right? And it would be so sad if I had to throw out all of my stuff. Oh, this is a totally new sort of complex that looks pretty nice, actually, and looks very perfect for this area. Or termites. That's one reason why I'm afraid to like buy something. Or rats or mice. I had a friend whose friend spent all their money on a house in Central California, coastal, and like all of their money, which is, sad. And it was so infested with the hantavirus and rodents and black mold that they couldn't even move there. They were a friend of a friend. I donated money to their GoFundMe, and I'm really not sure what happened after that, but gross. So many gross things. Insects, termites, spiders. It's funny because I don't really ever remember talking about termites growing up in New England, but I remember them from cartoons, from like the cartoons from like the 30s or 40s that we were watching. Oh, roaches are the worst. I will take ants over roaches any day. I've been able to successfully rid myself of ants many, many times. Fortunately, haven't had a roach problem, but my aunt lived in New York on 25th Street, and very proper lady, clean apartment, kind of, the Chelsea district, but she lived there since it was cheap. And she had roaches, and I remember visiting her one time, and she's like, we just did a roach bomb in the garbage thing, and I just couldn't fathom what a roach bomb would be, or was like. But I remember her saying, it's really hard to get rid of them. I've seen a centipede many times. Or those pill bugs, those freak me out. Centipede doesn't bother me too much. Of course, I don't want them crawling on me. Like, who does? Oh, I'm gonna step in the shady spot for a minute. Because I love a good mural. Because I wore a hat, I for some reason didn't remember to put on sunscreen on my face. Luckily, I'm all covered up everywhere else, but I really hope so. I know that cats can be good with pests. I don't know about my two dogs lying on the couch. Alright, not really on our tour, but definitely a pretty cool building. Look at those shield-shaped windows. I've heard you can give them baking soda and sugar, and that's the most natural thing that you can do for them, or that's the most natural way to kill them. They eat the sugar and baking soda and then explode. I don't like, it's not my place to like or not like, but I really don't like the tagging that doesn't make sense or look artful. I mean, I don't think anybody should tag the church, right? Or somebody's front window. But I do like some graffiti in its place. This is the first American Zion Church. So West Adams Presbyterian from 1928. It says 1885 to 1928. I don't know why it has two dates on the thing. It definitely looks more 20s. I should wonder how they built this stuff before they had trucks to haul all this stuff around. Like the Washington Monument was built before we had power. Look at that big old mansion. Actually, there's a whole church attached to it. Okay, we're still a mile away from where we need to go. I just want to take my sweatshirt off at my destination. Sheesh, it's not very good timing for me. Well, that's St. Agnes. I remember when I lived in Virgil Village, there was an episode of 30 Rock about bed bugs, and after that I saw all these signs on buildings for like bed bug extermination, and I think there was a real crisis of bed bugs in New York in like 2010 area, and also in Los Angeles too. I've read that about the damntious earth. I can't even say it, but it's really weird because renting apartments, I remember renting an apartment in Boston, you would just know by the smell of Raid whether they had roaches or not. Or an apartment will have a certain kind of smell if it's infested. Anyway, enough about that. It's gross. I hate bugs. I'm not afraid of them, but I hate them. I am afraid of spiders. Look at that Mahanch's house over there. And then this little house with a house behind it. I love LA's houses with houses behind them. Oh. Well, how could the city fix the problem? Wouldn't that be like your landlord's responsibility somehow? Unless he complained to the city and they did nothing about it. Aw, I really love this too. There were a lot of houses that looked like this in the neighborhood I grew up in. It looks a little haunted. But very cute anyway. .5 miles, I will arrive at our destination. I mentioned once a long time ago, I'm like a camel. I never ever have to go to the bathroom on these walks, but today I drank a big water on the walk to the subway and kind of rethinking that. I don't know where I'll go to the bathroom, so I'll put it out of sight, out of mind. Looks like they're hiding some real cool stuff behind these fences. Sorry. Security warning. Okay, then he had every right to. My neighbors that live in the apartment upstairs from me have lived there for probably 15. I've almost lived in my apartment for 10 years. It's the second longest place I've ever lived in my life, actually. I gotta move. My neighbors, though, I think they've lived there for like 15 or 20 years. And we have those old windows that don't really close all the way or open all the way, and they called the city on the landlord for about 20 things. And everything got fixed. Ooh, look at this little, that's the perfect size for me. Oh, it's a cutie house. They kind of enclose the porch. Interesting. I also love the person that refused to give up, and then their little old timey, not old tiny, but old timey houses stuck in between those two not too pretty apartment buildings. It's called Avalon. Right, Mary? I'm ready to move to West Adams. I still don't think I can afford the million, but also they're a little too big for me. I've been playing with a Charles Manson walk, actually, and also like the Los Feliz death house. Oh my god, I said the D word. I mean, unalive house. Like, and also Wonderland. I wonder if, I don't know if Cecilia's at, I wonder if she got to meet Magic Johnson yesterday. I know she was going to an event. I sure hope that happened. Because you know she told him about walking in LA. I'm just kidding. Hey, if it's your first time here and you're tagging along, great, welcome. Thanks for coming. Feel free to like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, chat. We're pretty friendly. There's my CTA call to action. We are in West Adams, heading towards the original home of Fatty Arbuckle. I was thinking of doing I almost said Whitney Houston walk, a Walt Disney walk. Walt Disney combo Whitney Houston walk. No, a Walt Disney walk, and like you couldn't really walk it. You'd have to like get in the car and get out. But thanks to our going to Pioneer Chicken the other day, I will say, I feel pretty good about taking the car places. Except not alone. I mean, I'm not afraid to drive my car. But I totally need Joe to hold the gimbal in the car. Alright, so West Adams towards Magnolia. So you could see that is one of the vintage and blocked off neighborhoods. I'm kind of hoping that that's not where we need to go. But I'm willing to go there. But actually yesterday I walked practically, well actually I doubled the walk. I walked from 7th to City Hall, and then from City Hall back to 7th Street Metro, all the way up Wilshire to Western, and Western to Santa Monica. That's a pretty long walk. Maybe I could do a Charlie Manson walk. These walks are getting longer and longer, which is fine by me. Whoa. Check that beauty out. Hey, I just mentioned you. See you here. We are in West Adams, the other side of LA. Did you get to meet Magic Johnson? I hope you had an awesome event.
Turn left onto West Adams Boulevard.
That's Jacob. So downtown is to our left. You can kind of see the Chase Bank peeking up. That beautiful copper dome. The copper probably is two different ages because its patina is different, but it's got a nice ladder to climb to the top. I wonder what's for copper polishers. It's part of the university. So, funny thing, the university used to be over on Vermont and Santa Monica area. Now that's community college, LA Community College. It's a beautiful couple buildings. But USC, I believe. Sorry, I'm not a California college guy. USC grew too big and moved over to this side of town, and that was the 20s. They always stop when you have the gimbal. Thank you. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I bet his hand is giant. I love that you got to meet somebody that meant a lot to you and that you looked up to, and they didn't douche out on you. I know that celebrities have bad days, but I don't know. It's always sad when they're kind of mean to a kid or a teenager that idolizes them. So maybe this is not a part of the university. Let's see what it says. I wish the crosswalk led to it. The Art of Living Foundation. I've seen that dome in my periphery many times. I've never gotten that close to that building to know what it was. I'd love to see pictures of Casa de Rosas. I would love to see pictures of this building before everything else was around it. But at least you got the chance. I once met Isabella Rossellini in front of a dumpster. I don't think she meant as much to me as Magic Johnson probably meant to you, but what a lovely lady. The best dumpster hookup I've ever had. Not hookup, sorry. I've experienced so many high profile icons living in Los Angeles and working in Beverly Hills, and I mostly only have good stories except for 2 or perhaps 3. One story, the first year that I lived here, when I was a little kid, I'll tell you this story. When I was a little kid, my across street's neighbors were big fans of this singer. My parents, not so much. But they're big fans of the singer, and they're always listening to their greatest hits album. So I just kind of fell in love with it. I made my mom buy it for me. I just idolized this singer like a little gay boy does, idolize a lady singer. And I saw movies that they were in. Some of them were bad. It's not Madonna. And then one Christmas, I was working in Beverly Hills at a store, and I was ringing people up in a line my first year that I lived here, and I was kind of depressed because it's December. I'm used to a fun, cold, snowy, non-palm tree, non-green December, and it felt kind of alien-like. And so I'm ringing people up, and then I look up and, oh my gosh, it's this lady who, I wouldn't say I idolized her, but I just really adored as a child. And I said to her, I was like, I really loved your work. I thought that was a sophisticated way to say it. I really loved your work growing up. And I think I'm in my 30s. No, Cher would have been a kick-ass. I'm in my 30s, and she probably still feels like they're in their 30s. I've run into that a couple times. Marsha Brady was kind of like that, whatever her name is. But I said, I really loved your work, and I really loved the blah, 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 blah. But I think it was and she looked, and then I said, when I was a kid. And then she probably looked at me and thought, when you were a kid, and the scowl just kind of broke my heart for 5 minutes. But it's a beloved celebrity, and I'm sure I just said it the wrong way. That's a pretty cool house too. We are so close to the house that we want to get to. I can feel it. Well, I can see it on the map. Another keyhole two-door. I love that. I really loved a Tudor house when I was a kid. I don't know why. It wasn't Barbra Streisand. I would never have said anything to Barbra Streisand. It was she was in a movie called Grease. That's all I'm going to tell you. God rest her soul. And I hold no grudge. Again, when I was a kid, I think that's punch-worthy. They're just fantastically huge, and I can't imagine trying to heat them. So one of the houses is here. West Coast got it without me saying any names. Hey DC, hey BD, hey if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I'm really mesmerized by the houses and the architecture that we're seeing. Also, slightly preoccupied with my map tool. Okay. Well, this is not Fatty Arbuckle's house. Or is it? It is. I thought it was going to be set back a little bit from the street, but of course I'm sure that masonry brick wall thing there was built way later. I'm going to open up and make sure that I have the year, because I forgot what year this guy was made. I'm going to smack this phone. All right. So we're going to look at that building, because I can't open my phone. All right. 649 West Adams. We're going to walk around and take a little bit of a look at it. So 649 West Adams. This is where Fatty Arbuckle lived. House was originally owned by Theda Bara, a silent film actress. I feel like I watched a little something on this woman, and she was just a regular girl that they tried to make like a mysterious sort of Middle Eastern lady. And she kind of lost her fame, I guess, when the talkies started. So Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, one of Hollywood's earliest, most famous silent film stars, rented this house around 1919. He actually made $1 million a year. When I was looking this house up, I was like, how could he have afforded it? But he made $1 million per contract, which was really unheard of at the time. So he had a scandal where an actress named Virginia Rappe, R-A-P-P-E. It was actually Hollywood's first big scandal. In 1921, Arbuckle threw a party in pre-Prohibition era San Francisco, and Virginia became mysteriously ill and later died. You can read more about that. Arbuckle was accused of R-wording and accidentally killing her. The tabloids exploded and the public was outraged. He stood trial 3 times, and the first 2 ended in hung juries. The third acquitted him, but he never really worked again. He went from beloved star to Hollywood pariah overnight. There is someone lying on his lawn. So, we're not gonna go over there. All right, so the last house. So Fatty Arbuckle clearly was not a very good guy. The last house might even be this house. Oh no, this is a church. The last house is on this campus or in this area. I'm gonna just plug the address in. It's the Doheny Mansion. So Doheny was the slime oil magnate of the early 20th century. So this is definitely like a rectory, not the Doheny Mansion, but the Doheny Mansion's right around the corner. Let me please pull up my map and make sure that we are on track. Oh my God. It really opens a different page every time. I can't even open it and go back to text. All right, enough complaining about this stupid phone. So, in the area, this is not Google Maps. This is regular Google. All right. Doheny Mansion. Start. All right, hold on to your hats. I hope you enjoyed looking at that beautiful church. So we're 2 minutes away from that. Let's just take a little back shot of this guy. I'm sure the tennis court is back there somewhere, although I don't know that Fatty Arbuckle ever played tennis. He was really big for the time. So the Doheny Mansion is to the right, but I also drive by these churches frequently and have never really walked next to them. What a beautiful campus, really. And check out that dome. I don't know what this church is called, but I am going to find out because we'll walk to the front and see if we can. I'm going to see if I can get closer to the. I've lost the chat for a second. There we go. Hey, Focused. Happy Friday. We are in West Adams. I'm going to cross the street here. I've got to go right if the phone is correct. Let me zoom back out. It would be really lovely if we could walk right up to the front door, but those days are over. For sure. Uh-huh.
What do you stream on?
YouTube. Yeah. It's walking in LA. Thanks. Check it out. So this (1934), and it had some competition. I'm kidding, this is the Automobile Club of 1921. Actually, it's AAA of Southern California. Four years after the Spanish flu, right? The Spanish flu epidemic. So that's another church over there that we are going to have to see after we see our mansion, our last mansion. And you know what the scariest thing of all? I have no idea how to get back to the train, but I'm gonna look it up. I think I think this area just further west of here, like, you probably could still find an inexpensive, like, rundown home. It wouldn't be the first time. I like the feeling of being slightly lost, and I'm not really lost. I can find my way back for sure. All I would need to do is find Western. Or, as somebody once told me, you need to look for the mountains, except for if you're in the valley. Automobile Club of Southern California. It figures that it looks like a church because cars have almost been a religion in Southern California. Looks like it got a little update with that slate. Not loving that, but who am I? I feel like I know this McDonald's. I can find my way home McDonald's to McDonald's, probably. While I was on the walk, before I turned the camera on, some guy came out and offered me a beard to shave my beard for me, or to give me a trim. I took his phone number. He had parking right out in the front.
Northwest toward South Figueroa Street.
I didn't ask him how much it cost, though. All right, I really hope that I didn't talk my way out of... Yeah, no, I'm good. So I'm gonna turn on West 27th Street. I kind of wanna... I hear some music, so I'm gonna turn my sound cancel on. I've been doing really good with not ending up with a lot of music lately. No, he was sitting on the sidewalk in front of a barber shop and offered to shave my beard. Can you imagine getting into a truck and letting somebody, a white van, and letting somebody shave you? Scary. But like, I really don't do a great job trimming my beard very well. So what I always do is I just grow it, shave it, grow it, shave it. I never bother to sculpt it or sex it up. So my Google Maps on this asswipe phone, like, shut down again, but I'm pretty sure we're on the right track. The other day when I was walking home from Hollywood and Highland, it was Tuesday, so I was walking home from doing the live stream, or not live stream, but making the members video. And not only did I see the most incredibly cool house for rent, which I'm sure I cannot afford. Hold on. But I heard somebody belting out. Sorry, I'm just reminded of it because maybe somebody's performing over there or it's a school fair. But I heard somebody belting out from Paramount, the Paramount building that we walk by. It's Raining Men, like at a rock and roll version, by somebody with no Martha Wash set of pipes. Martha Wash was like the underrated singer of the 90s. People sampled her voice, never gave her credit. And she brought us such hits as It's Raining Men. And then all those Marky Mark songs that sampled her voice. Oh my gosh, you know what song they're playing now? So come on down and do what you got to do. It's I think Bronski Beat does the song, but also Thelma Washington. No, Thelma Houston. Thelma Washington. Tell her she is loved. I listened to Black Box actually the other day when I was on my dog walk. The only thing that bothers me about those Black Box songs is the way they cut up the vocals. The words don't always make sense. But that's not even the weird thing. The weirder thing is that they have, in every song they go, hooah, like it's a barf noise. So this is the Kirchhoff Carriage House. It's not the Doheny Mansion. The Doheny Mansion is probably right there, but a carriage house. Again, pre-cars. So this would be the piece de resistance and also the worst person's house that we are going to see. So let's but Martha Wash, I feel like, was especially ripped off. And also, they, for Black Box, like, she literally was replaced by somebody skinnier who was lip syncing to her music. Don't get me started on Milli Vanilli. That's a different case altogether. They knew what they were doing. But, like, so the Doheny Mansion, I believe we're right over here behind this. I'm just going to walk up that driveway, and I could say to the security guard or whomever, I hate oil. Okay, let's try to get a little closer, and let's hear a little bit about, this is the craziest house of all, I think. So I'm really disappointed. All the pictures made it look like we could get right up close to it. Well, hello. Here's a cutie just standing there. I hope they don't bite me. But it looks like they're sweet, and they have a little water and food bowl. All right. Okay, so this guy is kind of what Mayday is all about, actually. So the place is back there, unfortunately, and Doheny was a oil tycoon who became one of the richest men in America. But his rise was tied to ambition, political corruption, and scandal. He was involved in a ruthless oil grab. His partner, Charles Canfield, which I feel like I saw Canfield gas stations, maybe in Grand Theft Auto. And his partner, they were basically oil pirates. In 1892, they struck oil in Los Angeles by drilling in a backyard in Westlake Park. This sparked an LA oil boom, and we've all heard of. I mean, everything had oil rigs on it in LA pre-70s. Oh, I'm right near that Sweet Dog's food. So LA boom. He snatched up all the leases, underpaid workers, pushed competitors out with cutthroat deals. Brutal labor conditions. His oil workers often labored in horrific, unsafe conditions. Doheny was notorious for opposing labor unions, driving wages down, and relying on cheap, disposable labor, even as his fortune soared. He has 2 mansions in Los Angeles. By the way, this is the older one. The newer one, I think, is Greystone Mansion. I could be wrong about that. He was also involved in the Teapot Dome scandal, which we all have heard of that. So in the early 20s, he secretly delivered $100,000 in a black bag, basically a bribe, to a U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Albert Fall. In exchange, Doheny's company got lucrative drilling rights on government land, and this is part of what became known as the Teapot Dome scandal. So the family tragedy, and this took place at the Greystone Mansion. In 1929, Doheny's son, Edward Jr., Ned, and his secretary were involved in a murder-suicide inside the Doheny Greystone Mansion, possibly tied to the Teapot Dome scandal. Doheny Sr. escaped prosecution, but the scandal shadowed his family permanently. Also, the secretary was a man, so I'd like to think that there was a little, like, something going on there. There was a movie that takes place in California in the 1960s that I watched probably 4 or 5 months ago. I cannot remember the name of it, but like it's almost a documentary of what it was like at the times. It's not The Exiles, which takes place in Bunker Hill, but one of the people in this movie live in like a bungalow literally on Venice Beach, and there are like all these oil rigs around it. So Carriage House, I'm just gonna walk back and maybe we'll get thrown out. Or I'll just leave and say sorry. So that's the Doheny Mansion. Nobody was in it. Like nobody at all. I think this Karen just saw me and I'm gonna look at it when I go home and I'll share the movie poster with you. But it's like a definitely independent kind of arty film. I didn't love it because I don't remember watching the end of it. I did love, if you really are in the mood for kind of a sad one, The Exiles, which is a documentary that, oh, maybe I could just walk over here and pretend like, yeah, check this out. I'm looking for my kitten. The Exiles is just a really slow, sad burn of a movie. So here we are. So The Exiles was a movie about people, Native Americans and the Mexican people that lived in Bunker Hill in like the late 60s. The movie is probably the best photography of that area that exists. The people in it were real, their situations were real, but it wasn't completely a documentary. And the saddest part is you sort of feel for, well, you don't sort of feel for these people, you feel for these people and what they're going through. Hey, Jay, I'm sorry if I missed anybody. I'm telling this story about this awesome movie. So you kind of feel for these people and what they went through. And they're real people, but you cannot find out anywhere what actually happened to them. Imagine your carriage running up to that. So obviously you can look, not obviously, but you can look up older pictures of this house online, and it had everything. Tennis court, there's a ballroom somewhere in there. I'm walking on the luscious green lawn. But still, Doheny was a D word. And also, his legacy is all these like hidden oil wells places that didn't get capped properly. I'm kidding. Anyway, look at this. I'm glad we got to come up this close because well, I don't know if I can say the real D word. I have now marked all of my live streams as for children. I'm kidding. I like to say the S word too much to do that. So obviously this is an addition. They probably didn't care how they got their wicker wheelchair up to the house in those days. Nothing scarier to me than a wicker wheelchair. Nobody lives here. It's part of USC, which is probably the only reason I've been able to like get this close. I'm surprised because, you know, protests and stuff. Like I feel like a lot of colleges are locked down. You guys can certainly say whatever you want in the chat. It smells like wood stain. You know, if I got this house, right, and I'm not saying I would, I think they do give tours, but you can't take pictures inside. I would never do that kind of doorbell. I would keep the vintage doorbell and like hide a camera or a ring somewhere. Just an effing treasure. Ooh. They have the kind of blinds that I grew up with, those like metal. I don't want to peek in the window. There's some like USC people behind me. I'm getting ready to get kicked out, I'm sure. It's my scruffy beard. I should have let that guy trim my beard. Ooh, there's somebody in there. I don't think anybody lives in there. I think it's offices. I wish I knew the cost of it. That's the one thing I didn't look up. And look, there's another one right across the street. I love how they've built this sort of condo to look like, no, I don't look suspicious. I always try to smile when I'm not talking and I'm walking around. This way I just at least look friendly or super stoned. The lights are on. Wow. So many little places to sit. That's what I love. To hide. Security loved me this week. Don't sit on those steps. A beautiful mansion for a bastard. For a terrible man, right? The kind of person that gave California a really bad reputation in the early 20th century. I probably do need a donut. I probably shouldn't have a donut though. I've been surviving on donuts and fried chicken. It's pretty scary. I'm gonna try to do something I've never tried to do before, but when I get home, I'm going to have a salad wrap. I've already made it. Yesterday I made a really giant beanie salad. Only thing missing was avocado, which my avocado should be ripe by now. Did I do the right thing? Yeah, it'll tell me. With feta. I don't know what's for dessert. I definitely think I can have me some desserts. I've done a lot of walking today. But I probably will make a smoothie because I just got a fresh thing of yogurt. Well, fresh, but I got a big bunch of mountaintop full fat yogurt yesterday. Actually, I think I got low fat because they were out of full fat. So low fat yogurt, some bananas, a bunch of frozen antioxidant berries. So smoothie probably. So I will put in that a banana, frozen berries, oat milk. I usually put a little teaspoon of strawberry sugar-free or no sugar added jam just to sweeten it up a little bit. Or no, it's not no sugar added because it doesn't have like sweet and low or saccharin or one of those things in it. It's just like no sugar added, whatever the hell that means. Right now avocados are a little more expensive than they normally are. I think $1.29 or $1.50, $1.59 for an organic, $1.29 for a giant Hass avocado. They're just never ripe anymore. I keep getting these super unripe avocados. Why do you have to fast for the rest of... I heard you have to let them sit in a brown bag with a banana. I it should come back up. I used to have a couple of avocado trees in my yard. Let me know when it stops. Oh, I know why it's buffering. Hang tight. I can't really use that map thing, can I? All right, back to the crappy phone. No, I'm gonna use the actual cheap phone to get there. You guys should be fine. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, cool. It's because I turned the map thing on. So look, there's downtown LA. I honestly almost would just rather walk to downtown LA than to hunt for this train. But I'm gonna hunt for the train anyway, so let's do it. All right. Well, back to the Automobile Association. We are on Figueroa, and we want Western and Expo. Hold, please. I'm gonna go to Maps. Wait 45 minutes for Maps to open. I'm a really catty bitch right now, I apologize. Hey, Mel. I need to really just write my directions down like I used to instead of trying to use this phone. And then just have this phone if I get lost. So, Expo, Western, train stop. Directions, all right. Directions. We are gonna walk. That seems ridiculous. Okay. AAA insurance. I'm practically walking to downtown, but whatever. Here we go. Figueroa. I was wondering where you were. I'm so hungry, Joe. So I'm gonna definitely want to wrap. Last night for dinner, after having a healthy lunch, we made homemade hamburger helper. Okay, I don't know how we missed this, but this is the thumbnail picture. This is the Fitzgerald house. You can see it right there. So when we were trying to see it before, we were seeing it, that's where the security guard was, and we were seeing it from the wrong side. He could have told me where you could see it from. In every picture, In every picture of this Fitzgerald house, um, the shrubbery is not here. So the shrubbery is probably from the 80s or 90s. So check that out. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Check out the airplane. I mean, really. I want you to see the door also. Definitely horror movie fodder, but pretty cool. Let's see if we can get another. I might think we could get another angle of this guy. Oh, yeah. The glare of the sun kind of makes it hard. That is pretty gorgeous. That was the Fitzgerald house. I've already told you about Fitzgerald. Let me know if you want to know more. I told it out of turn. So the picture I used, I'm taking Figueroa till I get to 7th. So we're on 23rd right now. 7th is what, 15 blocks? 23 minus 7 is 16 blocks. Let's just do it. Whenever am I going to walk over here again? Hopefully we'll get to cross the freeway and get to see what a schnitzel show that is. You want to know more? I'll tell you more. Hold on. Fitzgerald was a real estate magnate. And he had a lot of shady dealings. He's not related to Fitzgerald Kennedys. That house also has, wow, check this one out too, sorry. That house also has just the silhouette. I've never seen this house. I've seen the church beyond so many times, but I've never really seen that house. So let me tell you a little more about him. Let me just make sure I'm not mixing him up with an oil tycoon. Ooh, I've walked this way before because there's the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall, which I love that building also. I'm really excited to show you that. So James T. Fitzgerald was his name, wealthy entrepreneur and real estate investor who built that house around 1903. This was when this was LA's peak ultra elite neighborhood, or this is the time period that it was. He was not a national figure like Doheny, but he was still a bastard. And I can dive deeper into that. But basically, he was a boomtown profiteer, right? So Fitzgerald made his money during LA's frenzied land rush era, when wealthy land speculators just gobbled down tracts of land, flipped them to new arrivals, and then cashed in on the urban expansion. This totally LA's history means displacing poorer residents, exploiting tax regulations, and helping fuel chaotic but unequal growth of LA. So the house also has some vaudeville Hollywood tiles, but no public scandal figure lived there. There's possibly some entertainment world social circle stuff that happened there. As West Adams declined in the early 20th century, the mansion reportedly hosted gatherings that mixed showbiz, high society, and bootleg era mischief. Local legend has it, unconfirmed but persistent, the mansion may have also been a site for meetings of fraternal orders of secretive spiritual groups during the 1920s and 30s. While it's not criminal, it definitely has a little bit of hidden life behind the facade. After Fitzgerald's time, the mansion, like many of those estates, kind of fell into decline as the wealthy white residents flew to new suburbs, leaving once grand homes to be divided up into apartments. These mansions became symbols of LA's inequity, housing struggles, and neglect. Sorry to get a little political there. It's a little bit about Fitzy. And I mean, that's the story of California, really. We talked about Doheny making his millions in the oil. We could probably tell you a gold story. We can tell you a real estate story. Most of us have seen Chinatown. Hey, Allie. White flight, red lighting, redlining the freeways. Culver City was actually a sundown town. I really don't love Culver City, by the way. It's cute, it has MGM, but I always get a kind of that bad vibe in the Culva. I will go there for a walking tour because it's on the Gold Line. So we've seen the same thing happen in Silver Lake, like in our lifetime. It is actually happening now. So Silver Lake, probably a wealthy white neighborhood or upper middle class neighborhood. Everybody went to the suburbs. People are able to afford these really cool houses, and now it's really expensive again. I always feel like I live in a neighborhood like 5 years after someone discovered it, but before it's hot and when it's unaffordable. Or I always make enough money for really great rent 10 years ago, for a really great apartment 10 years ago. I've never seen Under the Silver Lake. I've stopped on it a few times to watch it. But I don't think I have anything to watch tonight. I am all caught up with The Studio, which is really clever and hilarious show, I've got to say. I'm all caught up with Hacks, which also hilarious show. And I don't think there's a new Last of Us, or it's Friday. Maybe there is. I'm not sure when it comes on. So those are the 3 or 4 shows I'm watching. So when they built the freeway, they built it and locked people into neighborhoods and prevent people from easily getting out to neighborhoods. Those gated neighborhoods that we were just walking through was like people gating off those neighborhoods and making it impossible to pass. So further down along Washington Boulevard, closer to Culver City, actually, the neighborhoods are just gated off. And so if you were to drive from here and needed to go down a couple blocks, you have to go all the way out of the way. In some cases, you can't even walk through those gates. there's so much TV out there now, and I've got a couple on the back burner that I would love to watch. Um, but and I really like. I don't watch a lot of movies. I think we talked about this, but I've watched a couple movies this past week. I watched one called 2073. They're not really gated. You just can't pass through them. And it was probably to stop crime at some period of time. You know how when we were walking through the Yucca corridor, I mentioned that it was really crime rated in the 90s and 80s, and one of the things that made it less crime ridden was changing the flow of traffic in that area. I think that the gates in those neighborhoods was to try to do something like that, but it really made it harder for people who lived on the other side of it. So what I've been doing, Allie, because I do know that we talked about this before, I watch like half an hour and then another half an hour, which I never in my life liked doing things like that, but it somehow works. So the movie 2073 was sort of a documentary about how society will be destroyed by 2073, and it uses. I had no idea what that's what it was about, or it would be that realistic. I thought it was just going to be a science fiction movie, but it used all footage from the past, news footage from the past 20 years, interspersed with the lady Ghost was her name, from 2073, and it painted a really compelling picture for the future that was not very pleasant. Hi! I can't say it was a great movie. It wasn't the movie that I expected, but I kind of liked it. So, Bob Hope, he's everywhere. Bob Hope Patriot Hall. So I really don't know about this, so I'm going to read the thing. So, those USO shows from the 1920s, they took place here. I kind of love just like discovering it one day. I rented a car and I had to walk down here. And that's the first time I saw it. It just seemed so patriotic in a World War II kind of way. So we're coming up on downtown. Hey, yesterday I posted a drive down Wilshire Boulevard, somebody else's movie or somebody else's YouTube thing, but I found a bunch of stuff about shopping at Bullock's Wilshire. Some of it was a little cheesy, but ooh, there's a Playboy sample sale. Joe, let me know if you want me to pick you up anything. And to think, so all of that amazing stuff, it just became out of fashion and then they gutted it. Check out the inside of the Eastern department store building if you can. Get some old pictures of that. That was pretty amazing. All right, we're gonna go under the bridge. Red Hot Chili Pepper style. Today I do feel like I don't have a partner. I'd never shopped at a Bullock's. But I mentioned yesterday that I have this book by Tashin. It's a coffee table book about Los Angeles, and they have just scenes from the scene at Bullock's Wilshire in its heyday, and it looks pretty amazing. I also think I kind of love the fact that when you would go shopping, a couple hours later, a bellman would show up at your door with all of the boxes, like on I Love Lucy. But I think honestly, because it's so easy to shop online, people really need to repurpose our shopping districts, our shopping experience, and make it an experience. Like, you can't do this at home. You can't blah 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 online. Like, it needs to be an experience, like going to Disneyland, but you don't have to pay to get in, or going to a carnival. Like, it needs to be slot machines. Like, you totally need to inspire people to actually, no, they can go out in yoga pants anywhere anyway. I was going to say put on a pair of pants or sweats. Ooh, free samples, some entertainment. So there's that big white building is our creepy haunted skyscraper. Well, no, the guy that would deliver the clothes from that you ordered at the department store. That was only for rich people. I mean, Ricky wasn't just a performer, he had a show at the Tropicana. This is the Los Angeles Convention Center. I really did just walk to 7th Street because it makes sense. So, as far as taking the Gold Line, this was a fun experience. I could have also taken the Gold Line all the way to Santa Monica or Azusa. So every Thursday I'm going to be taking the Gold Line somewhere this month. I reached out to never mind about that. I don't know what I was going to say. I do, but it didn't make sense. I didn't reach out to anybody. Anyway, so I'm going to go on the Gold Line, explore the Gold Line all this month. So go different places. I'll probably put a poll for members, helping me choose a couple places. We're definitely going to Pomona for the fair. And I'd like to see if anybody has any ideas. I know it's a whole new world. I used to take that train to, I think, Arcadia and then ride my bike to work from there. I'm not a great bike rider. There's the Moxie Hotel, which I've never heard of before. We're gonna do an evening fare. I also have a harness for my phone, so I'm gonna see if I can put that to good use, and maybe we'll take a non-threatening ride. Dude, that hotel looks like it has a merry-go-round on the platform there. And then, real cool, it actually looks really cooler. I thought it was spray painted. It is my kinky phone harness. I'm into BDSM. The M is for mobile. Oh my gosh. Look at their cool digital Billima board. Am I in New York? What is this? Like, the leaves just popped out. I can't tell you how many times that people have told me that in my life, but Only topically funny if you know what I'm talking about or you get me. Right? I hope I'd look stupid for standing here filming it because I could walk. But I want to see the leaves again. That was pretty cool looking. It does look really nice. They're having a party up there, which sounds hecka fun. Oh, here we go. Woo! The leaves are growing out of the poster. It's called Moxie. I kind of like those billboards in Times Square. I mean, I also liked Times Square before it got cleaned up, if that tells you anything. Before the Disneyfication of it. Yeah, the East Central is just up the street. So we've got this, our derelict skyscrapers, East Central, Staples Center, I said it. One time Joseph and I took a vacation where we hotel hopped, actually, and it wasn't as relaxing because we kept hopping hotels. But I was convinced, like it was the one summer I waited till the last minute to like book something, and every like Airbnb was way too expensive, so I was like, we could just stay at hotels. I remember being a teenager walking through Times Square and just I mostly stayed at West 25th Street in Chelsea when I went to New York, because that's where my aunt lived, right? So I could walk all over the city, walk to Times Square. I remember one time I tried to buy drugs off of somebody in Times Square. It wasn't David Lee Roth. I tried to buy LSD. Of course, he took my money and ran. And what was I gonna do? Call the cops? That guy took my money and my LSD. I think it's different. We did it in Santa Barbara, and so we were just going like 5 miles away, and we ended up staying in like some really shitty hotels. We stayed at one beautiful old grandma hotel right across from the beach. That was a 2-nighter. Then the next night, I did like hotels. What is it, like room tonight or something? And we found this hotel room at a beautiful hotel, except our room was at the annex, which was by a train track. Maybe LA should sell that for $1 billion and make back the deficit. I mention this every time, but we have, I don't know how many units would be in that building, but we really have a housing problem. The hotel, I can't remember the name of it. It was literally like a grandma hotel. It's kind of posh, but in a grandma way. They I can't stand valet to take my car. Like, I like to know where my car is. I know that's really weird, but like, I always leave something in my car, and then I don't want to go back and be like, oh, can I go back to my car? So I, whatever hotel it was, like I forced them to let me park my car. And I was kind of pissed that they made a big deal out of it. But like, I remember, don't take this the wrong way, but we looked even at Motel 6 in Santa Barbara was actually pretty nice and cheap. I've never stayed in a bed and breakfast. Because we have dogs, I like to stay in Airbnbs. This way, we don't have to worry about them. Actually, the car I currently have, I've never valeted because I've most seriously started walking in the past year, but I've never valeted it. It has a special like valet mode that you can put it in with a code and take it out of. The guy was so excited when he told me that. I was like, I don't valet my car. And also, like, I don't care if they turn my stereo up. Just don't eat my gum. Okay, Peacock Theater. This is Grammys, if you were with us for that. If I stayed at a B&B, though, I would want it to be like Newhart. Kooky, quirky, and in Vermont. Those people had Dianetics t-shirts on. There's the E Central. They don't really look like they have much of a roof deck. Anything cool happening there? How was this hotel? Because I'm almost to the end here. Another almost 3-hour day of live streaming and walking. I want to definitely thank all of the members, new member, and our existing members. Thanks so much. Thank you for your support. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subscriptions or subscribes, whatever they're called. I did see Michelle Pfeiffer. I wish I had known when the Michelle Pfeiffer thing was happening, because Michelle Pfeiffer is problem-free actress. Like, you can't really say anything bad. I don't know anything bad about Michelle Pfeiffer. Also, I don't know about plastic surgery, and I don't care, but she seems to have aged really lovely. I don't even think that's... But she's aged in such a way. At least you didn't call it Grandma's Chinese Theater. Right? I loved her as Catwoman. Also, The Fabulous Baker Boys. Also, one of my favorite movies that she was in with Jack Nicholson was Wolf. And I like the fact that every couple of years she comes back and makes a couple movies and then just goes back to her life. You know, 66 is the new 40. It's funny, so the building that we were looking at before, the Patriot Hall, we've walked by this building many times, and for some reason, I thought this was Patriot Hall, and I was like, I don't remember it looking like that. I've never really pointed it out. I've never saw Dangerous Minds. Kate Winslet's also kind of untouchable, just a lovely person that nobody says crap about. But American actresses are few and far between. And actors, at least the young ones. It's not like when Garbo was a star. Mysterious, classy, and with a husky lady voice. That's probably a smart thing. I think familiarity breeds contempt, right? Isn't that an old adage or an expression? It literally, too much makes people hate you or not like you. Oversaturation. It's happening to Katy Perry right now. So I think also that they maybe never had glamour to start with, but we only saw the glamorous part of them. Taylor Swift's kind of like a glass of milk. She's really not offensive. I also don't think she's that exciting. But I'm too much. And what she's really smart because she has disappeared. Like she was in my news feed every day. And the only thing I'm hearing about her now is whatever she has to do with Blake Lively. I think it's also over for, like, I think what's also saturated are influencers. If I see another person tap their nails on a eyeshadow set and then point to it ridiculously and try to convince me that I need that eyeshadow set or skincare or crackly whatever they're tapping on with their nails, ridiculous. It's over for influencers. I think the nice thing about Taylor Swift is that she's also not offensive to a 13-year-old girl. I fully support artists doing whatever artists want to do and expressing themselves artistically in any way they want to, whether that's a sexy song about, I don't know, a Cardi B song. I just wouldn't want my child to listen to that. Also, I think, I'm gonna sound like a grandpa here, but like, I remember the dirtiest song I ever heard in my teenage years was by a performance artist called Karen Finley, and it was called Tales of Taboo. And everybody knew it in my high school. Like, it was a dance remix single, and I learned more dirty words from that song than anything else, but it didn't play on the radio. They weren't mentioning it on the radio. I guarantee if you look up this song, it's still pretty raunchy. I think she's carved, back to Taylor, I think she's carved out an interesting space for herself where she is kind of wholesome and Americana. Sorry to take that away from Lana Del Rey, but she's kind of like just an unoffensive person for everybody. Like, she makes good music. I don't like it, but she makes good music that people can relate to. I definitely prefer Lana Del Rey. Also, she is really a sweet lady. I'm not really an influencer because I'm not forcing you guys to buy my blush. You don't even know what kind of blush I use. I talk about my skincare regime, which is 5 steps, but I never talk about the product I use. I do influence you to be nice, and I do influence you to take care of your skin and health. And walk when you can. I would never want to sell something that I wouldn't wear or buy or use. I art. Oh, I understand. I hope she's nice. I really do. I hope she deserves what she has received from the universe. Hey, have you guys heard of Morgan and Morgan and Morgan? I'm not going to do a law firm. Or what is it? Prize Picks. I would not like to encourage people to pursue frivolous lawsuits or to gamble. Now, Waymo, I would take them as a sponsor. Because, look, I've used Waymo 3 times now. Okay, so if Morgan and Morgan and Morgan hit me up and wanted me to do a commercial, if I could turn off the other YouTube commercials, I would do that then. But not for Prize Picks. I really have an addictive personality and I've never had a problem gambling, but I have gone to Las Vegas and had a hard time getting off the slot machine. I want a shoe. I want somebody to give me new shoes. Or like the Good Feet store where they measure your, I mean, look, I'm walking, I don't know how far I've walked today. I really wish I turned my thing on. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I went to see how many miles I walked. Am I back? Let me know. Okay, cool. Sorry. I went to check how many miles I've walked today. So 9.7 miles, I think, if I can remember. Hey, MC. So imagine being able to say, these shoes take 20,000 steps a day over the past 6 months. Blah, 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 blah. I should be able to get a shoe person. Or maybe the Goodfoot store for my plantar fasciitis. I don't have plantar fasciitis. So here we are. I'm at the train station. There's my train station, 7th Street Metro. I'm going to hop on the train, head home. I'm off tomorrow because I'm now streaming on Thursdays. So you won't see me tomorrow, but you will see me on Sunday. We're probably going to do an earlier 12 o'clock. Bang that out, do a really cool walk. I'll see what's going on and see how we can add an event or go to an event or something fun, something really LA. Thank you guys for wandering through West Adams and looking at haunted, forgotten mansions with me. I don't know if they were haunted. But again, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, members, for your support. Thank you, anybody that thumbs up or subscribe today. I really wasn't able to see that on this chat here, so big thanks to you. I will see you soon. I will see you Sunday. Have a great Friday night party, like you mean it. I don't know why I said that. I'm not going to do that. Have a great time. Bye.